got one for you. Casualty giving, or giving casualty. And I wanted to put this in because I'm doing this whole thing on Newton's Cradle, casualty, cause, effect. And I said that this does not move and has very little effect on the cause. It's a very simple principle. In your life, this happens and then there's an effect. You do this and then it affects this. And the only way that this is more affected is by this, and the effect has very little to do on your life. In your life, I want to encourage you greatly that if you're waiting on something in the external world to have this huge impact on your cause or you, that's a bad thing. All of this excluding giving. I'm just telling you to be giving, because giving jacks up this whole principle. It jacks up the whole principle of Newton's Cradle. It jacks up the whole principle of cause and effect, because it says almost anything you read, anything you look at, the Bible, it says once you give, it comes back to you tenfold. So the giving not only helps the giver, not only does it help the receiver, that this whole principle, no matter your beliefs or your philosophical, spiritually, the giving comes back to increase momentum. It affects the giver. It helps the giver. It makes the giver more positive. It along the way. And here's the other thing that just hit me. All along this process of the giver and giving affects all of these people. And then when it comes back, it affects all of these people again. In my opinion, the cause and effects, I kept saying, the effect is never going to be greater than the cause. The cause will be very slightly affected by the effect, except for giving. Because the giving, and like people are like, oh man, I'm just not getting much. I'm struggling with my rent, struggling with my bills. And there's a lot of people like that. And I appreciate that. I've been in that place way more times than I'd like to be. But I'm just telling you from experiential knowledge that the quickest way to fix your getting, what are you producing, the fruit that you're producing, is to give more. And like I made this analogy before, like if a farmer went out to a field in the spring and he planted and he harvested, right, in the fall. Then he goes back the next day and he harvests again, and he harvests again, and people be like, why are you still harvesting? Oh, because I want to harvest more. You didn't give anything. The only time the farmer gets anything is when he gives something, right? So that's just an analogy of this, but I want you to believe this. The way that you can jack this whole principle up of Newton's Cradle and casualty is by giving. Fact of giving, which is considered an event, process, state, or object. Once you do that, there's a repercussion of this deal that continues on and on and on, because it affects this person, but it also so greatly motivates and inspires this person. And then the principles that come back, the energy that comes back to the giver is immeasurable. Immeasurable. Casualty giving or giving casualty. Think about it, guys.